Yo estoy de acuerdo con eso.
I think we should figure out who here needs the money the most. Maybe the 5 people in this room who need it the most, and then divide it between them.
What kind of system do you propose for determining who needs it the most?
By the numbers on the wall.
I agree that we should divide it evenly, and then if someone wants to donate their portion to people they feel deserve it the most, they can do that.
I don't think the numbers on the wall necessarily reflect the need.
I agree that the numbers on the wall don't reflect the need, but then what are they for?
Not everyone put numbers on the wall. So not everyone put a number on the wall, and many people left question marks or wrote comments. So in order to decide who would need the money the most, would require lots of more further discussion.
Raise your hand if you think the money should be divided equally. That's a majority.
Are we done on this issue? Yep. Good. So, for those of you who want to be in the division of the money, you'll need to put down your name and your address on this sheet of paper found at the end of the night, and I will divide it equally amongst those names. Does that include non-performers?
One person nodded their head.
Who is this?
No, I was interpreting.
Yeah, are we still discussing that?
If we're going to give the money to performers over and non-performers, then what does it say about the value of the artwork?
if there's a difference.
Can we bring an addition of money back on the table and propose that we use it?
And then we use some of it for some beer.
Put up your hand if you'd like to use the money for some beer.
I'll donate my money for beer. I'll donate my money for beer. Me too.
Does that mean we're getting together for beer later because we're not going to get the money until it gets mailed to us? I think in order to solve the beer issue, we should gather up some funds and we should send a man to go get beer right now. And buy beer for Drew.
Is it possible that we can all march to the bank right now and deposit the check, and then come back with piles of cash and make, or divide it equally, right? And then we can have piles for different donations, one for beer, one for the space, and one for anything else that someone might want to propose.
If we're dividing the money by the performers, what does that say about the performance itself? About who are we considering performers and what are we considering performance?
Who would like to volunteer to get the beer?
Time. All right. So I have no idea where this issue has ended up. It seems that we have a majority vote on distributing money equally. As far as the question about whether we can put the check in the bank, we're in Ridgewood, so no. So as far as the beer issue, if people want to donate some money to get some beer and have it brought back, that's totally fine. Yes?
I am not taking it as something, did we end with equally on everyone in the room or equally on performance?
That is unknown.
Okay.
And because that is unknown, I'm not going to determine that.
Okay.
So the list is up there, and because it's undetermined, whoever puts their name on there, I will divide it equally amongst the people whose names are up there. So I guess we'll find out if an audience member wants some of that. From here on out, this debate will be much more like less directed toward like a particular quantity of funds or a theme. So this idea of like coming to a conclusion is not going to continue on as far as these debates are concerned. So we'll never decide on anything again. manager. I'm in a situation of like extreme money problems right now, so I can't donate the cash that I have with me, which is everything I have in the world right now, to beer.
I have beer money.
We got some beer money. Anyone who wants to go and do that. Ryan has please clear the center of the space.
This is one last straw.
I'll just get as much as possible with this one.
Yes, great. The second round of debate is open topic. Anyone who wants to choose the topic of that debate underneath the kind of overhanging topic of labor needs to grab themselves a ventriloquist, take that person into the middle of the room, and name the topic for the debate with that person. And then whoever wants to be ventriloquized, set your chairs up in the middle. This first round will be 10 minutes.
What constitutes labor? What does it have to do with art? And what does it have to do with money? The reason why this was chosen, labor was chosen as the second topic for debate, was because the No Wave Performance Task Force was originally formed around, issues of labor. And I was thinking about labor because of the letter that Yvonne Rayner wrote about Marina Abramovich. And particularly a solution to Marina's abuse of her performers by a creation of a labor union for dancers. The first question that came up was a labor union with what to barter with? Because labor unions always have something they can withhold in order to fulfill their demands for their workers. And I was trying to think about what performance artists and dancers could withhold and how they could withhold it, and I couldn't really think of anything. And for whom they could withhold it.
I think the fundamental conception of labor goes deeper than that. The issue of unions only comes up. When an artist is making work for something other than what is perceived as their own benefit. Or there is no direct relationship between the work and what others receive. Precisely, and this is why you can't strike against yourself. Precisely, and this is why you can't strike against yourself.
In terms of the Yvonne Rayner comment, I think she was speaking for performers without having their experience, and I know one performer in particular who thought she was speaking for him and didn't say what he actually felt. Couldn't performers and dancers withhold their labor and therefore use that to barter with? Okay. I don't understand. The only way I think that would work is if all performance in New York City stopped for an entire month.
When we're talking about labor, does that mean we have to have an employer?
Additionally, if
No, somebody. Okay. Sorry, I'm the referee. I'm sorry.
is something labor, is it worth it to labor if you're not getting paid? And for your experience, is it worth it when you're not laboring over your own art? And is that why we would want to get paid?
Most of my artwork that I do is for free for myself or for others because, as an artist, because I'm a mother. My labor as a mother is completely unpaid.
Are we associating labor with value?
Aren't you getting paid by your experience?
consumption of time, resources, and energy. And when we're paid according to the system we live in now, it can cycle back through.
In terms of the Yvonne Rayner comment, are we talking about the Are we talking about laborers when they were paid or rehearsals when they were unpaid, or are we lumping that all together or not?
I'm confused because we're talking about art inside a capitalist system. And I'm not sure that art inside that equation necessarily works out. I think we're talking about experience and motherhood and labor and art as if there's a 1-to-1 ratio between what you give and take. And that's a very capitalist perspective, which is an economic framework, and not a larger philosophy of life.
I find it hard to compare motherhood with labor and art.
Perhaps a better question is to frame it about what the value of art has in a non-commercial. What different ways can we value our art or evaluate to lessen or add value to our art?
When it cultivates energy, resources, relationships, and erases a sense of time, I don't know.
What I get paid to do, I don't think of labor, and when I make art, I make it for myself.
There are some benefits to not getting paid for your art, like having greater freedom with what you do. I think money can help with freedom sometimes.
This piece seems very free, and yet, nevertheless, it itself requires money.
I hate the idea of artists getting paid. People who are causing political change don't expect to be paid for their labor. They don't expect a revolutionary to get paid for the hours they put in. So I guess it depends on where you're placing the function or the operation of your labor within the framework of the society you perceive. I think we have the potential to shift that perception that paradigm of revolutionaries not getting paid, and visionaries not getting paid, and artists not getting paid, until capitalism falls. Let's use money and make capitalism fall.
Earlier we were talking about a system to divide the amount of money here between who needs it most. How would we define, if artists, performance artists were to be paid, how would we decide who gets the most money?
Revolutionaries don't get hired to have jobs that are unpaid, whereas artists do.
There are many ways to get paid. It's not only money. So I'm confused. I would continue to argue about money. Because certain artists get paid through other means, not just through money, like opportunities, etc.
Additionally, equality doesn't always mean justice.
The idea of art is expansive. Being a mother is art, and so saying to get paid to be an artist is wrong, is limiting to a lot of occupations.
I think it's interesting that the word labor, talking about motherhood, that it's the moment of birth. And to look at our language as being caught in a kind of patriarchal way of ideas.
1 minute.
To conduct or create art is a conscious action. To be a mother is a way of life, a part of your life. One similarity between mothers, revolutionaries, and artists is the non-monetary network that supports all of them. And therefore, the reward is not wealth or fame, but the community and the support that surrounds you.
But does that change the bigger idea that affects all the other people? The ones with the money.
Time, let's clear the middle of the space. Whatever number of ventriloquists can enter into the space with chairs. Take the chairs out so the number of chairs reflects